Another installment for this week in CFA stuff for February 26th. The level 1 exams are now over. They ended on the 25th, and you're usually told 5 to 8 weeks to get your results. It's more like 5 to 6 weeks and you'll get your results. And once you get them, your next exam window for level 2 would be August. You can't do May. You can't do concurrent windows. There has to be one in between. So if you do February, the next one you can do is August. If you do August, the next one you can do is February. So you can't do the November and you can't do the May. Besides, May is closed. So what do we do over the next 5 to 6 weeks? If you feel that, look, I think I've done well on level 1, I want to get a head start on level 2. We have a low risk, no risk strategy for you to follow here. We do break down each level into sections. So you could just buy one section. It's only $40. Equity is the longest section, but it's easy. It's not hard to figure out what's going on. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. It's the longest section. So while you're waiting for your results, by the time your results come out, you could be done the longest section. If you do pass, when your results come out, you upgrade to the full access or the full access plus, which is over here or over here, and the price will drop on each one by $40. So that is a no-risk strategy. You pay the $40, you start studying, you pass, then you pay $3.59 to upgrade to the full access, getting full credit for the $40. Same over here. The difference between full access and full access plus is the applied level. While your subscription for level 2 would expire at the end of the exam, there is no expiry over here. So I'll just write that down so you can see that. No expiration. So after you're done the level 2 exam, the level 2 content does get archived. It goes away, but the applied series stays. The difference in price between the two is $320. If you bought the applied level on its own, it's $440. So there is a benefit to getting the applied level in with the CFA level that you're on. So if you did buy the section, the $40 does apply and come right off the price of each one. So that is the no risk part. What is the low risk part? If you do not pass and you have to repeat level 1, it only costs you $40. That's not too bad. It only costs you $40. And what you learn in equity will help feed back on level 1, on the equity section on level 1, where some of the models are just introduced. Level 2 is a valuation level, so you really use the models, but they're introduced at level 1, so if anything, you'll have a better understanding of equity at level 1. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's remind ourselves of how much time we have left. Sort of like a clock ticking over your shoulder. Every week I'll be doing this, letting you know how much time or how little time you have left. And then after this screen, we'll look at study pathways for level 1, 2, and 3. That if you're starting and you think, well, what should I start with? I'll give you my best sort of view of where you should or how you should progress at level 1, 2, and 3. So for May, it is closed. So even if you want to write in May, unless you're already registered, that's really not an option for you. Level 1, you have 78 days, less 28 for review. Don't think that the review period should be a learning period. You need to consolidate all of that knowledge in your head. You need to review it, tighten it up, and consolidate it. That's what those 28 days are for. Don't blow them off. Don't say, oh, I don't need review. I'll just learn right till the last day. It's not going to have the same effect. You want that consolidation period. That gives you 50 days to digest the rest of the content. So you should be 70 to 75% of the way through. Same with level 2, 70 to 75%, even though you have 57 days. Level 2 is quantitatively more demanding. It's a valuation level, so there's a lot more formulas that you're going to have to work with. So even though there's more days, because the content is a little bit more demanding, you should also here be 70 to 75% of the way through. And again, this is critical here. I believe the mock exams are open. I believe they opened 3 months or 90 days before. I think it was February 15th. If it's not February 15th, then maybe it's 60 days. It would be March 15th. I don't really control those dates anymore, so these are my best guesses. August 2024. Registration closes May 14th. Early registration is done, but registration closes on May 14th, 78 days away. For level 1, it's 175. Take off the 28 review. You got 147 days or 21 weeks. While they may sound like a lot, level 1 has 10 sections. So that's basically 2 weeks per section. That's it, 14 days. That's a tight timeline. August sounds so far away, but don't underestimate the size of level 1. If I had to pick one word for level 1, it is big. If I had to pick one word for level 2, it is challenging. Level 2, you have 154 days, 22 weeks, so 2.2 weeks per section. I would say 2.2 weeks per section at level 2 is more challenging than 2.1 weeks per section at level 1, because it is quantitatively more intense. So you should already be started, and if you haven't, your plan should be to start tomorrow or start today. But the more you delay, this doesn't get easier. Every day you don't start, you have 1 day left, which means everything must be done in 1 day less. It simply just gets harder. So start now. August 16th and 19th, the exam dates for level 3, 171 days here, 35 days of review. Level 3, I think, requires more time on the review. 136 days, 19 and a half weeks. You should already have started your level 3 preparation. If you haven't, the clock is ticking. Once we go out to November 2024, this is nice, comfortable breathing room, like wide lanes on a highway. Registration opened February 8th, so you can register for the November exam now. Early registration is up to April 16th. So if you know you're going to take one of the exams and you do want the lower price, why wait? Early registration ends April 16th. You got 50 days to register. But I would say the sooner you start, the easier each day is, because you're not under stress. Level 1 and level 2. If you're looking for level 3, it's February and August only. Your level 3 can only be August, and you should have already begun. Level 1, you have 232 days before you hit review. Lots of time. You can start now, and you have an easy schedule each day. It's not like you have to load up with 2.5, 3 hours a day. You have a good schedule. Level 2, 239 days. So there's lots of time here. So to sum up, you should mostly be done if you're writing for May, 70 to 75% done. If you're writing in August, you should have already started. A good percentage done would be 10 to 15% done at this point, but if you haven't started, you got to start. And for November, well, you've got lots of time. Even if you took a couple of weeks before you started, you'd be okay. But the more you put it off, the more time per day will be required. Okay, let's look at some study pathways here. And level 1 is rather easy. Start with Quant. Quant forms the basis of a lot of things you're going to see in the asset classes and in the tools. Quant is considered one of the tools. All of these over here are considered tools as well. Start with Quant. That's the one tool that you can get out of the way. Then I would do the asset classes, and I've got them in pairs. Because I think you'll find that you can be more effective with distributed learning. So when you're focused on one topic, after about an hour and a half of studying it gets boring. It does for me. It does for everyone. You just get to the point of, I can't read another page. I'm just bored. I need a break. But if you switch to a completely different topic, Let's say you do an hour fixed income and switch to a completely different topic like equity. It's fresher. It's a new topic. You can put in another hour there. So where you would normally put in an hour and a half, you could probably get 2 hours. So do fixed income and equity concurrently. One reading from fixed income, one reading from equity, an hour here each study period, and just do the two together. Then move on and do derivatives and alternative investments the same way. Once you have the asset classes behind you, Quant supports all of this. Once you have the asset classes behind you, you can move on to the tools. FSA and corporate finance. FSA is long, corporate finance is short. They're easy. There's not a lot to figure out. There's just a lot to remember, but there's not a lot to figure out. They're fairly easy. Once you're done that, move on to economics and portfolio management. These are a little bit more challenging. If you like to mix an easy with a hard, I would then say FSA is long. Mix FSA. Corporate finance is short. Economics is a longer one. Mix these two and mix these two if you want to do a hard and easy together. And then ethics last, because ethics is just a list. It's just a list of facts. It's not as if you can figure something out and everything falls in place like typically with a numbers reading or numbers course where you finally get something, I get it all now, I get it. But there's nothing really to get with ethics. It's just stuff that you have to remember. And since you're remembering it, it's going to be in short-term memory. And short-term memory has a very fast decay rate. So you want to put stuff in your short-term memory as close to the exam as possible. So I think ethics is something you would save right to the very end. So just to review, begin with Quant. That forms the basis of everything. Get your asset classes out of the way and do them in pairs: fixed income and equity, derivatives, alternative investments. Then move on to the 4 tools, and then finally end with ethics. Level 2, I've broken the topics down into challenging and easy. And while everything in level 1, or not everything, but a lot builds off of Quant, that's not true at level 2. You don't necessarily have to start with Quant. So what I've done is I've paired a challenging section with an easy section, and you're going to, in your study session, you're going to spend some time on Quant. When you get a little bit bored there, you're going to jump over to corporate finance. Then fixed income paired with portfolio management. Fixed income is not, I think, pretty straightforward. Once you get the pattern of what's going on, it's a repeating pattern. But it is considered one of the more challenging sections. Pair that with portfolio management, fairly easy, except there are two challenging readings in portfolio management. And then derivatives paired with equity, economics paired with equity. Why do I do this? Derivatives is short. I think you get 2 readings in here. Well, it's broken down into learning modules now, but it's short. Same with economics, it's a short section. Equity is long. So you'll do derivatives paired with equity and you'll get halfway through equity. You'll do economics paired with equity and you'll get the other half of equity done. FSA paired with alternative investments, that is easy, not really challenging. FSA can be a little bit challenging. And then finally, ethics last. So Quant and corporate finance at the same time, fixed income and portfolio management at the same time, derivatives matched with equity, you'll finish derivatives first, economics matched with the back end of equity, FSA matched with alternative investments, and stick ethics in your short-term memory as close to the exam as possible. Level 3 is a bit more difficult to break down because it doesn't break down in 10 sections very well. So challenging ones: fixed income, portfolio management, capital market expectations, and derivatives and currency management are the most challenging sort of themes at level 3. The rest is pretty straightforward. Maybe some things in portfolio evaluation might seem difficult, and in manager selection, but it's little things. It's not the whole reading. So I would pair fixed income portfolio management with equity portfolio management. 4 readings in each section, And I would begin with fixed income portfolio management because it is the most challenging section, so it gives you more time to think and reflect on it. Pair capital market expectations with asset allocation. This can be a little bit challenging. Asset allocation is pretty straightforward. Pair derivatives and currency management with private wealth management. That is individual portfolio management. And then move on to this whole category here. These are just readings in a row. Institutional investing, trading, performance evaluation, manager selection. Once you're done that, finish it up with everything that'll sit in your short-term memory: ethics, GIPS, and the asset manager code. And again, distributed learning. You'll start in every study session, you're attempting to do 2 topics. Right, you'll start with fixed income. You'll have a set limit. Maybe it's an hour and 15 minutes before you feel like, ugh, I've read enough of this. I just can't take it anymore. Flip over to equity, and your mind is refreshed on that because it's something different. It's something new. You'll find that you'll be much more efficient with your time. So there we go. That is my best suggestion for how to get through the levels, the order, the progression, and how to pair them together. And we'll check in again next week for another This Week in CFA stuff. And I'm going to hit you up every week with the calendar, to remind you how little time you have and how quickly it's disappearing. Okay, let's deal with some of the comments that we had last week under the videos, or under the video for This Week in CFA stuff. And I think that's a nice way to end each week, is to look back at the last week and address the comments as best I can. First one, I studied L3 from you, and unluckily I found the exam to be extremely difficult to deal with. I did all your mocks and watched all your L3 videos. Please guide me where I lack. Give me customized advice. Well, I would have many more questions to ask to be able to determine what happened. Now, you found the exam extremely difficult to deal with. That doesn't mean that you didn't pass. You're going to have to wait to see what your results were. I guess I would ask, did you attend any of the office hour sessions? We had lots of them starting as early as November. Did you attend any of the live exam walkthrough sessions that we have, which prepare you for the structured response part of the exam? So watching the videos, doing the exams, sure, you can do that, but the question and answer sessions, if you have any questions at all, that's really where you ask. And even if you don't think you have questions, this happens many times, and it's happened to me many times when I was a student back in university, where the lecture is done and you have questions, and I think I have no questions, and I hear somebody's question and I think, oh yeah, maybe I do have that question too. I didn't know that I had that question. So even just attending and listening in the background, you might think you know something, only to realize later that, oh, thank God I'm here. I thought that was something else, or I was doing that differently. So you may not even recognize what your questions are until you hear other people's questions. I would ask that up front. Did you do all of that? So it's not just saying, well, I watched videos and did the mocks. Well, I'd need to know more than that. Let's see. How can we mail Professor Mark? Can anyone please help? I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm easy to find on my YouTube channel. When you click on About, you should find my contact information there. A senior in college who took the level 1 exam in February and likely passed. Good. Started my first job in October. I start my first job in October 24 and have the summer to prep for CFA level 2. Would you recommend I take the exam in August with intensive daily review, or wait till November? I'm taking it while starting my career. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. You start a job in October and you have an exam in November, and you're more than likely going to be asking for some time off in the first 5-6 weeks. And you might be overwhelmed with your job at that time. Being that you have a clear runway to August. And I have gone through the amount of days for level 2 for August, the amount of weeks. You got 154 days with 28 days of review leading into level 2. You can do it. Here's what you can do, because I said let's do some distributed learning, right? Find out. Here's what you can do, because I think you have time before early registration is closed, but registration is still open. You've got time. For level 2, I recommended to do distributed learning with Quant and corporate finance. 2 sections are going to cost you $80. Try it. Just start studying, and if you say, you know what, I got this, then sign up for August, knowing that you've got this, or knowing that you think you can do this. Sign up for August, get the full access. You'll get the $80 deduction off the price anyway, so you're not going to pay an extra penny more. And start. And if you are not getting it, or if it's taking too long, if you're saying, oh, I'm frustrated with this, well then you made your mind up that maybe you need the September and some of the October and November to get ready. But rather than say, should I try this, should I start? Just simply start. Grab 2 sections and just start. And in 3 weeks, if you've got those 2 sections behind you, you might say, you know what, I got this. Let me pick up another 2 sections. Maybe you just want to go 2 sections at a time. Under no condition will you pay more than the full access price. Let's see what we have. My level 1 exam was this Tuesday, truthfully, even though I think it was really well prepared. Some of the questions were really unexpected. Let's hope you're not talking about them, and I should just give my best guess. Some of the questions I answered incorrectly just because I forgot about this thing just before the exam. And was struggling to remember the information, maybe because of maybe because of this stress and anxiety, despite I think that the real exam was more difficult for me personally than I was expected. In my opinion, most of the question was fair game, and you should probably be already familiar with. Most difficult part is now waiting until results will be published. Yeah, that's true. Even though I passed official mocks with 90% correctly answered questions, I can't just forget about the questions that I was struggling on the real exam, and this feeling that I might fail just sitting in my mind, because in my mind the real exam was more harder. Anyways, next 5 to 8 weeks will be really mentally tough, and I wish only to forget about all of this exam stuff and do something else, although I can't stop thinking and start to relax. I don't know, maybe I should go to a therapist or find a girlfriend or find work. No, you don't have to do any of that. Or start preparing for the next level. There you go. Just to skip this time quickly. There you go. I'm studying my 3rd grade currently. I imagine that means your 3rd year. Okay, I don't see a question in there, just a comment. Okay. Let's see, sitting for L3 in August, passed L2 this past August, just finished up fixed income and equity section, start economics today. I'm ready to be done. If you want motivation for level 3 for August, write this down on a piece of paper and tape it to your bathroom window. It's just a question. Ask yourself every morning, do you want this to be your second last exam? Obviously not, right? And that when you read that and you say, do I want this to be my second last exam? Hell no. You're going to lean in, right? So try that. In addition to studying the curriculum for L1 and L2, you also need to complete a practical skills module, which takes you around 10 or 15 hours. But you don't have to do that till after the exam. You have to do it to get your results, but after the exam is over, you can knock that off in a weekend. You don't actually have to do it till after the exam. If you're looking for particular topics to focus on, my vote is derivatives and quant. Well, what I was hoping is that you would have a specific question about something, as opposed to me coming up with something for derivatives and quant. If you have a particular question, I can focus on like 1 or 2 questions a week. Will a package be created specifically for CFA Charter holders? At this point, I'm not entirely sure. I hear that it's still being discussed, and it's still a desire to do something. But here it is, February. Here we are. So I don't know. These decisions are not up to me. I greatly appreciate some insight on how to tackle quant on L2. The last 2 readings are more or less manageable, but the first 5 are just not sticking. I suppose I should be aiming at getting at least 50% to make it work. Well, not really. I don't know that I would aim for 50%. You just have to go a little bit slower. There's some mental block that you have with some fundamental concept that is making everything much more difficult than it seems, because you don't have clarity in your mind about what the structure looks like. Once you get that clarity, everything falls into place. We do have tutoring on our site. It may be beneficial. It is heavily subsidized tutoring, in that we've arranged it, I think, for the lowest price you're going to find for charter holders teaching you one-on-one for an hour. I think it's $60 or 65 or 55, somewhere around there. I know you probably think, how come you don't know the prices? I don't set them anymore. I'm a content person. So just go to the site, have a look, and you'll find the amount. Actually, I can just click over here quickly, get this. Let's just have a look, and we should flip over soon. 55. There we go. 55 for tutoring or counseling hours. So let's go back to our comments. So as far as that, as the quant section goes, maybe just having somebody, a one-on-one where you can ask probing questions to figure out where it is that you're missing this little bit of structure. That might be helpful. We're almost done the questions here. There really aren't that many. A wildcard question: should the equity markets today price in probability? Okay, that's not level. It's the CFA stuff that's applied. Well, we're going to pass on that. Thanks, Dr. M. Key takeaway: life happens, so give time. Yeah, it reminds me of a quote from John Lennon: life is something that happens to you when you're busy making plans. So that kind of is along the same lines as, whenever you're planning for something, leave room for life, because life will show up. Life always shows up. Will Indians benefit from the applied level? Well, yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm not sure why that would be. Oh, I think maybe you mean based on the Indian market. I'm reading it wrong. I think you mean based on the Indian market. Yeah, because the sectors are the same all over the world. Let's see. I'm open to hearing a study strategy for November 24 level 2. Already did that. That's great. I'm working full-time job that required occasional travel, plus I still want to take a vacation with my wife this year. So for something like this, I've told this story before. All religions have a sacrifice story. That you ask God for something and you sacrifice a cow, a goat, a sheep, a chicken, whatever the case is, and it's a parable, right? It is meant to demonstrate to you, or to sort of instill within you, that anything you want in life is going to require a sacrifice. So you want to pass this exam. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Once you determine what the sacrifice is, you make that sacrifice. And you are one step closer to achieving your prayers, achieving the goal that you want. So that is really the message in that. Level 2 November here. Would love to study strategy vid. I think I did that. Okay. I've attempted CFA level 3 since I passed level 2 in December 2020. Shall I finish it off? Oh, I haven't attempted. Shall I finish it off? Well, yeah. The desire just seems lacking for me, as I don't use it in my job. Yeah, so that is something that you have to think about. That if in your current job, if you see yourself staying in that job, and if it's simply not used or simply not required, you think, well, it's only one more exam. Why not just do it and have the letters? The first 2 exams never expire, by the way. You can take level 3 anytime. The other side is, but it is an exam, and it is a cost, and it is a sacrifice of time, and if it's going to do nothing for you, if it's going to add no benefit to your job, and you don't see yourself changing careers, well then yeah, at that point it would be like, well, what would be the point, right? So case in point here, I never graduated high school. Once I realized that all you needed were 13, back when I went to high school, it was a grade 13. When I heard that all you needed was 6 grade 13 credits, I skipped grade 12 altogether. And I only did 5 credits, and I got accepted on the condition that I finished the 6th, and I never did. So I never graduated high school. Should I go back and finish it? I mean, what would be the point, right? So should you finish this? If there's no point to it, if it doesn't get you more pay, if it doesn't get you a promotion, if it doesn't get you into a better position, if you just don't use it in your job, there is a case to be made that why waste 6 months and a lot of frustration and a lot of money, and it doesn't have a 100% pass rate. There is the probability that even after doing it, you might not pass, and you're still one exam to go. So that's something for you to determine. It is one exam, and you got the 3 letters, and that is something that nobody can take away from you. But then again, if you don't use it, what would be the point? Let's see. I wonder if you could talk about L2 Quant study method. I find multiple regression very abstract to understand, and I kept going back to L1 to review anything that will help in this subject. Well, do you understand the capital asset pricing model, CAPM? The required return is the risk-free rate plus beta times the equity risk premium. That's a regression. That is a regression equation. And that's all you're really doing is you have some variable that you hope to predict, y, equals some function of some intercept and different sensitivities to different variables that you've identified that may help you predict what the dependent variable would happen to be. But as I said earlier, tutoring sessions are $55. You can actually share a tutoring session. If you and another level 2 candidate find each other and say, you're having the same problem as me, why don't we share a tutoring session? It will cost each of you $27.50. You can even have a 2-hour session. It costs each of you only $55. I would recommend that. Let's see, having passed L1, L2, think it's good to also factor in days off. Yeah, that's true. You don't want to study every day. So even over 100 days, if you say, I'll study 5, take 1 off, study 5, take 1 off, you're going to be taking, 18 days off. By the time you figure it out, you're going to be taking 18 days off. So you don't have 100 days, you have 82 days. So yeah, you got to think of that. Working full time and still pushing for CFA 2 to 3 hours every single day. Half a year without taking time off every now and then is a sure recipe to end up in a mental hospital. Or with a lot of stress. Or burnt out. The more damaging case, you're just burnt out and it starts to show up on your job as well. Absolutely right about life-disrupting exam preparation. I was supposed to appear for my level 2 exam last August, but I was emotionally devastated after my cat died, and I ended up deferring my exam to May this year. Speaking of cats, I now have a cat. I did not go and get a cat. I had no plans of getting a cat. A cat simply showed up, and I gave it food, and that was the end of it. The cat now sleeps on the couch. It's out there sleeping on one of the benches, and now I got to feed the cat. Now I got to think about the cat. The cat, whenever I walk in the room, it runs over to me and in between my legs. I got to start looking down on the floor to make sure I don't step on the cat. I got a cat now. The cat decided, maybe the cat, in the cat's mind, the cat's saying to all its friends, I got a human now. Yeah, took in a human. But yeah, I got a cat now. Can you suggest a strategy for someone to start the applied level from scratch? I think a nice place to start is in the sector studies. Go through each sector and watch the video for the sector study. You don't have to watch the videos for all the sub-industries that I go through. You could just watch the high-level sector study. Jump over to portfolio management for a bit and then jump over to options. But move around. It's okay to move around and learn a little bit of each. It wasn't designed to be linear. Started the portfolio management section, but it was 2 derivatives intense. What would be a good strategy? Start the applied course for building a good foundation and all the value. Don't think of it again as linear, and don't think of it as a one-time thing. Most of the videos I think can be used sort of as a reference, so that you can keep going back to them again and again. Okay, I want to do a condor. How do I get that done again? I want to do a call ratio back spread. How do I get that done again? You just watch the video again. But just start. Do a little bit in sector studies, jump over to the applied options, do a little bit there, jump over to portfolio management, make sure you have your paper portfolio. We start off with your screens, setting up your screens, then we go on to buy and hold. You don't need derivatives for the buy and hold, but it does show you different strategies of how you can proxy an underlying by using a derivative, how you can use derivatives for risk management. There's a nice carry trade in there. For carry trade, you'll have to be able to use Forex, because in that example, we borrowed $1 million in yen, and we bought a money market fund, and that trade paid off nicely. So yeah, you could just jump around. Level 1 and level 2 curriculum seemed really interesting. I don't know why I find L3 so dry. If you remove the private wealth management, it wouldn't be that dry. Private wealth management, I gotta tell you right now, from my own personal opinion, is bloody boring. I don't find much excitement in private wealth management at all. This is portfolio management for individuals. I find nothing interesting in it at all. So you're right. It is a little dry there. To add to that, the Reddit post on how tough the February L3 exams were does not help my confidence levels at all. I'm giving L3 in August, but I feel I should have started studying 4 months ago. So if you have our subscription to our site, most people miss this completely. There are tons of office hours that are just included in that price. They're at certain times. You just log into the site and you ask all the questions you want. And I stay on until all the questions are answered. It's not like it's only an hour and a half and I answer 10 questions. If it's 3 hours, I'll stay on 3 hours. I'll answer 100 questions. And then we have the exam drop-in sessions, exam walkthroughs, where we go through each question, each keyword, how would we answer each keyword, and it's repetition, repetition, repetition. We go through 7 exams until you're tired of hearing me say the same thing again and again. It's not hard if you're well prepared. It's not hard if you're well prepared. So don't listen to other people. You don't know for somebody posting on Reddit, oh, this was hard. You don't know how they prepared. You don't know how well prepared or how ill prepared they were. You don't know how they studied. So I don't know that I would take those comments as a good barometer. Just focus on what you can do. We have a lot of support for a lot of live session support at L3. L2 August, 40% through the material as measured by the videos. Good. Taking level 1 in May, started off really well in December, January, slowed down. Fixed income is quite boring. You take that back. I'm currently within your range, but need to get back on track. This video helped. Good. We only have 2 more to go. Always nice to listen to your videos about exams after finishing all the exams. After finishing all the exams, you're still coming back for more. Look at that. Well, nostalgia, maybe. Thanks for the wake-up call. Signed up for the August exam. Have been going through the material at a snail's pace. This gave me a boost to start putting the pedal to the metal. I'm glad you're looking at doing weekly check-ins. Well, this week, as you're listening to this, ask yourself if you have actually picked up the pace, and if you haven't, then pick up the pace. Anyways, that's the end of the questions. I'll try to do this each week. I'll just cycle through the comments section, and I don't know, maybe there's no value there for some of you. Maybe there's some value there, but I'll try my best to answer the questions in the comment section. I think it's better than picking 2 or 3. Then at least I am paying attention to the comment section and answering as many as I can. That'll do it for this week.